Hi, this is Tom Harris. And today, I want to talk to you about something we all experience, but few of us really know how to handle this disrespect. Maybe it's a rude comment, a cold shoulder, or someone constantly ignoring your boundaries. No matter how it shows up, it always hurts. But here's the thing, how you respond to disrespect says more about your inner strength than the person being rude ever could. I know how it feels when someone talks down to you, makes you feel small, or questions your worth. It gets under your skin, it messes with your confidence. Sometimes, it even makes you question yourself. But let me tell you something. You are not powerless. You don't have to let their behavior define your self-worth or disturb your peace. You have more control than you think. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 powerful ways to stay emotionally strong, even when people try to bring you down. These aren't just theories, they're practical, real-world strategies that can help you hold your ground and keep your dignity. And before we begin, let me make one thing clear. This is not about becoming cold or emotionally shut off. This is about becoming smart, stable, and centered. It's about building the kind of self-control that commands quiet respect, even when people around you aren't showing it. So if you're tired of letting disrespect shake you, or if you've been holding on to someone else's opinion of you for too long, stick with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to feel stronger, calmer, and a lot more in control. Ready? Let's begin. Sometimes we spend too much time wondering, what did I do wrong, when someone disrespects us? We replay conversations, analyze our behavior, and try to figure out what made that person treat us badly. But here's the truth. Most of the time, disrespect is not about you, it's about them. People disrespect others for a variety of reasons. Some do it because they feel insecure. It might sound strange, but insecurity often hides behind arrogance. When someone feels small inside, they try to make others feel smaller, to feel powerful. It's like a defense mechanism. Instead of fixing what's broken within them, they project it outward. Others disrespect you simply because they've learned to. Maybe they were raised in an environment where kindness wasn't valued, or where putting others down was considered strength. They carry that same pattern into every relationship they have. It's not your fault, they just don't know any better. And sometimes, people treat you the way they've been treated, not realizing they're repeating a cycle. Then there are people who disrespect because they envy you. Maybe they see something in you they lack: confidence, calmness, kindness, even your ability to stay composed. That can be intimidating for someone who doesn't have control over their own emotions. Instead of admiring you, they try to undermine you. But perhaps the most painful kind of disrespect comes from those you're close to: friends, family members, or coworkers who know you well. When they disrespect you, it cuts deeper. You expect strangers to be rude, not the people you've opened your heart to. And when it happens repeatedly, it starts to wear you down. But listen closely. No matter who it is or why they're doing it, their behavior does not define your value. You are not the problem. You might be the target, but you are not the cause. Understanding this is the first step in gaining emotional freedom. The more you internalize their behavior, the more power you give them. But the more you see it as a reflection of their internal chaos, the easier it becomes to let go of the need to please, fix, or explain yourself. You don't owe anyone a performance just to be respected. Once you understand that disrespect often comes from a place of pain, fear, or ignorance, you stop taking it personally, and that changes everything. Disrespect doesn't just sting. In the moment, it stays with you. It lingers in your thoughts, shows up in your emotions, and slowly starts to change the way you see yourself. Most people don't even realize how deeply repeated disrespect can affect their mental and emotional health. When someone disrespects you, your brain sees it as a threat. Your nervous system reacts. Your heart rate increases. You might feel anger, embarrassment, or even shame. And if this happens often enough, your mind starts to expect it, almost like it's preparing for the next blow. This creates a cycle of emotional tension that never really switches off. Over time, this constant state of alertness can lead to anxiety, overthinking, and even self-doubt. You begin to question your worth. You start thinking, maybe I'm the problem. That's when disrespect becomes dangerous, not because of what the other person is doing, but because of what you start doing to yourself. The sad part is, the more emotional weight you carry, the more emotionally reactive you become. That makes you an even easier target for people who feed off of control or conflict. You lose your calm, your confidence, and your clarity. You stop speaking up. You shrink. But here's the truth. You are not weak for being affected by disrespect. You're human, and humans feel deeply. What matters is not that it hurt, but what you do with that hurt. Do you let it control you, or do you decide to take back your power? When you understand the mental impact of disrespect, you can begin to protect your peace. You stop absorbing every insult and start becoming selective about what deserves your energy. And that is the beginning of emotional strength. Asterisk, one of the most powerful ways to protect yourself from disrespect is to stop taking it personally. I know it sounds simple, maybe even impossible, especially when someone is directly attacking you. But this mindset shift is what separates emotionally strong people from the rest. When someone says something rude or treats you unfairly, your instinct might be to feel hurt, offended, or even ashamed. But pause for a moment and ask yourself, is this really about me, or is this about what's going on inside them? Most of the time, it's not about you at all. It's about their own frustration, insecurity, jealousy, or need for control. Their words might be aimed at you, but the source of their behavior is coming from somewhere else entirely. When you take it personally, you give away your peace. You let their chaos enter your mind. So how do you stop taking things personally? You start by creating mental distance. Imagine someone handing you a box filled with poison. You don't have to open it. You don't have to drink from it. You can look at it, recognize what it is, and walk away. Their words and actions are that box. You decide whether to take it in. And this doesn't mean you stop caring or that you become numb. It means you stay in control of your emotional response. You remind yourself, this says more about them than it ever will about me. You choose your peace over their drama. Over time, this becomes your strength. People will notice that they can't shake you so easily. And when you stop reacting the way they expect, they start losing their power over you. That's when real self-control begins. Asterisk, one of the biggest mistakes people make when dealing with disrespect is allowing it to happen again and again without drawing a line. Emotional boundaries are not walls, they are signals. They tell people how you expect to be treated. And when those signals are clear, people think twice before crossing them. Setting emotional boundaries means being honest with yourself first. Ask yourself, what am I willing to tolerate? What behavior makes me feel drained, small, or disrespected? Once you're clear on that, you can start communicating those boundaries through your actions even, without saying a single word. We think we need to explain everything to everyone. But the truth is, your silence, your withdrawal, your disconnection from drama, that says enough. You don't have to fight to prove a point. You just have to be consistent in how you protect your energy. For example, if someone constantly makes passive-aggressive comments, you don't have to laugh or play along. You can change the subject, disengage, or even walk away. If a coworker speaks to you disrespectfully, you can respond calmly but firmly, letting them know you won't continue the conversation if it stays disrespectful. Remember, boundaries are not for other people, they're for you. They're how you teach yourself what's acceptable. And when you respect your own limits, others learn to respect them. To war, they remove themselves from your life. It can feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to being agreeable or avoiding conflict. But the discomfort of setting a boundary is nothing compared to the long-term damage of letting people walk all over you. Emotional strength comes from knowing when to stay open and when to protect your space. And strong boundaries are the armor that keep your peace intact. There's a big difference between reacting and responding. A reaction is instant, it's emotional, it's raw, and most of the time, it comes from a place of pain, ego, or fear. But a response that's different. A response is thoughtful, it's controlled, it's built on strength, not impulse. When someone disrespects you, your first instinct might be to snap back, defend yourself, or shut down completely. And honestly, that's natural. But the problem is, when you react emotionally, you're playing their game. You're giving them exactly what they want: control over your emotional state. Emotional strength means taking a pause. Just a few seconds can change everything. When someone says something hurtful, take a breath. Don't rush to fill the silence. Don't try to match their energy. Let them sit in their own chaos while you stay rooted in your calm. This doesn't mean you let things slide or that you become passive. It means you choose how and when to respond. You decide whether a situation deserves your words or your silence. You respond on your terms, not in their heat. Let's be real, silence can be louder than any comeback. Walking away from a toxic moment isn't weakness, it's mastery. It's knowing you don't need to lower yourself to be heard. Some people feed off conflict. Don't feed them. With practice, you'll start to notice the power in your pause. You'll stop being reactive and start being intentional. And that shift alone will confuse people who are used to controlling you through emotional chaos. Responding instead of reacting is one of the strongest habits you can build. It protects your energy, sharpens your mind, and keeps your dignity intact even in the face of disrespect. Disrespect only hits deep when it touches something we're unsure about inside ourselves. That's why building inner confidence is one of the most powerful shields you can have. When you know your worth, someone else's opinion doesn't shake. It just rolls off. Confidence isn't loud. It's not about showing off, talking over others, or pretending to have it all figured out. Real confidence is quiet. It's rooted. It's knowing who you are, what you stand for, and what you will not tolerate. And that kind of confidence doesn't come from praise. It comes from self-awareness and self-respect. You build it by keeping promises to yourself, by doing the things you said you'd do, by learning to speak kindly to yourself when no one's around. Confidence grows when you start replacing thoughts like "I'm not good enough" with "I'm learning," or "I don't belong here" with "I'm allowed to take up space." It also grows when you surround yourself with people who lift you up, not tear you down. Pay attention to the people in your life. Do they encourage your growth or question your every move? Because the energy around you affects the belief within. The stronger your inner confidence becomes, the less desperate you are for external validation. You stop needing approval. You stop bending yourself to make others comfortable. You become your own anchor, no matter who tries to pull you off course. And here's the best part. Confident people rarely get disrespected twice. Why? Because people can feel it. When you carry yourself with quiet certainty, it speaks louder than any words. So start investing in your self-worth. It's the foundation of emotional strength, and no one can take it away from you. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom. In a world where everyone wants to have the last word, choosing not to engage in drama makes you stand out. It shows maturity, control, and confidence. When people disrespect you, they often expect a reaction. They want you to snap, to argue, to break. That gives them power. It fuels the drama. But when you respond with silence, you starve their need for control. You show them that your peace matters more than winning a petty battle. Silence is not giving up. It's choosing your battles wisely. Not every comment deserves a reply. Not every insult needs to be corrected. You don't need to fight every time someone throws a stone. Let them throw it. Let it fall. Your value isn't determined by how loudly you defend yourself. It's shown by how little you allow nonsense to disturb your calm. It's okay to walk away. It's okay to protect your energy. You don't need to prove anything. Sometimes the most powerful move is to step back and let silence speak for you. It shows that you are grounded, unshaken, and not easily pulled into chaos. People remember that. They remember the one who stayed calm when things got loud. They remember the one who didn't need to raise their voice to be respected. So when disrespect comes your way, pause. Ask yourself, is this worth my time, my energy, my peace? And if the answer is no, walk away. Let your silence say everything, because sometimes the best response is no response. And that quiet strength leaves a lasting impact. Let me tell you a story about a woman named Sarah. She worked in a fast-paced office, where she was one of the youngest team members. She was smart, polite, and hardworking. But one of her senior colleagues, Mark, constantly disrespected her. He'd interrupt her during meetings, take credit for her work, and throw in sarcastic comments that made her feel small in front of others. At first, Sarah tried to laugh it off. Then she tried harder, worked longer hours, double-checked everything, and even asked for feedback, hoping he'd treat her better. But nothing changed. In fact, it got worse. She started losing sleep. Her confidence took a hit. She found herself rehearsing conversations in her head, wondering how to respond, how to stand up for herself, how not to break down. Then one day, during a meeting, Mark interrupted her yet again. But this time, she didn't argue. She paused, looked at him calmly and said, "If you'd like to share something, I'm happy to listen after I finish." Then she continued speaking like nothing happened. Her voice didn't shake, her tone was steady. The entire room went quiet. From that moment on, something shifted. Mark didn't stop completely, but he backed off. Other people started noticing. And Sarah's quiet confidence earned respect not just from her peers, but from her supervisors too. The point of this story isn't to say that disrespect disappears overnight. It doesn't. But when you carry yourself with calm strength, people notice. When you stop reacting and start responding with composure, you take back your power. You don't have to raise your voice to make noise. Sometimes all you need is a clear boundary and a steady voice, and people will listen. Asterisk, if there's one. Thing I want you to remember, it's this. You are not powerless. Disrespect may come from others, but your response, your control, your calm, your strength that belongs to you. And no one can take that unless you hand it over. You don't have to fight every battle. You don't have to prove your worth to anyone. You simply need to know who you are and stand firm in that. People will always have opinions, but your peace should never be up for negotiation. Stay grounded, stay kind, and protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is. You're not here to convince people to respect you. You're here to respect yourself so deeply that others have no choice but to follow your lador, walk away. This is Tom Harris, reminding you, real strength is silent, steady, and unshakable. And you already have it inside you.